Okay, so today we're going to look at the concept of a budget line. Now, a budget line is going to show us all the possible combinations of two goods that a household could purchase given their available income and the price of those goods. So, the way we can begin is we can write an equation for the budget constraint. So the equation for the budget constraint is basically going to tell us that our expenditure should be less than or equal to our income. Well, let's just call our income some constant I. What's our expenditure going to be? Well, it's just the price of X times the amount of X that we buy plus the price of Y times the amount of Y that we might buy. So here the budget constraint is telling us that our expenditure must be less than or equal to our income. And this is reasonable if we assume that households don't have the ability to borrow money, so they don't have the ability to spend more than they earn, and households don't have the ability to spend from their savings, so perhaps they have no savings that they can spend from. So this would be a budget constraint. We could also have what we call a budget line, and the budget line is simply going to be when we assume that expenditure and income are the same thing or equal. Right? So here, if your expenditure equals your income, that will give us a line called the budget line. You can do a bit of algebra here. You can rearrange this and you can write the following. You can write that Y will be equal to negative Px over Py times by X plus I over Py. So here, obviously, this is going to be the gradient. This is going to be the y-intercept. And then we can simply draw this budget line. So if you think about it, if we set y equals to 0, then clearly the most that we will be able to consume of x is our income divided by the price of x. The line is a straight line like this. And here, every point on the line represents the combination of x and y that we can consume given our available income and prices, assuming that we spend all of our income. If we have a point like this, is C. C, we can obviously afford to consume C, but it would represent not spending all of our income. Right? Okay? So the other thing that we can look at here is the gradient. What does the gradient of the budget line represent? Well, the gradient here can be explained by thinking like this. So imagine that we consume or we purchase one more unit of X. That means, of course, that we are spending Px more on X. So we forego Px of possible spending on good Y. Right, the opportunity cost of buying one more unit of X is you give up Px of possible spending on good Y. Well, how many units of good Y would that buy us? Well, we simply take Px divided by Py. Units of Y will be foregone. purchased, we give up Px over Py units of y. You can explain this or describe this as a relative price. Right? This is the relative price of x in terms of y. For every additional unit of x that we purchase, how many units of y do we give up? How many units of y does an additional unit of x cost us? Okay, so this is the fundamental idea with the budget lines and the budget constraints. If you understand the maths and how these ideas are put together, then any questions you could be